Hello, it's Ashley with At Home with Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. You ready for a new project? This week we are doing some more stained glass. I tried this like a few months ago and I wasn't super successful, but I'm trying a more beginner-friendly project, and I was inspired by it when I went to Waco and I went to the Magnolia Silos, and in their little plant shop they had these little stained glass like plant stakes that you just like put in your plant and catches the light. It's cute, it's decorative. But they were $25 each, and I'm like, I know how to do stained glass. Let's make some of our own. So I'm gonna try out like 6 different patterns today, and we're gonna cut them out. And because they're like kind of free form, it doesn't have to be as precise. So I am very excited about this. Let's get started. All right, the first thing we're going to do is figure out the pattern, and I have one I'm going to use, and if you want to use the exact same one, I have a link in the description and you can just download it and upload it onto Cricut Design Space, and it's free, so that's great. I'm using the Cricut Joy Extra, the cutting machine, to cut a pattern onto permanent vinyl. And I am doing this so that the vinyl can be the template for the glass. So this is really important. You can also just cut it out of paper and trace it with a Sharpie, but I like this so much more. I find it works much easier. I'm also using a piece of cardstock with the Cricut to draw the pattern onto the piece of paper. Later, this template is super nice to line up the cut pieces of glass onto. So now that we have our template, we're going to start cutting the glass. And first comes selecting the glass. This part is so fun. This is how you really choose how the design comes together. Each piece of stained glass has different colors and textures, and where you put the template on it makes the pattern for your, and where you put the template on it is how your stained glass is going to end up. So it's really important and very fun. So for safety supplies, make sure to wear safety glasses and cut resistant gloves for this step. You're going to put the vinyl pieces that we cut from last step onto the glass. If there's a straight edge on the pattern piece, put that on the edge of the glass. And then we're going to start cutting the glass. So we're going to create a score line by running a straight line with the glass cutter across the glass where you want it to break. So the score line should be one single line. Don't go over a bunch of times. And you want to make sure to apply cutter oil onto the wheel before sliding it across the glass. I use a cotton swab to apply the oil. When running the glass cutter across the glass, it should make a zipper noise. Don't start or stop at the edge of the glass, or it could chip really badly and it could possibly break the glass you're trying to cut. To break the glass on the score line that was just created, use running pliers. Place the pliers directly over the score line, and the pliers are going to have like a smiley face, and where the like top edges of that smiley face go on either side of the cut line, and the running pliers have a line on top of them to help align it with the score line. So you can line up these three things, and you hold the glass with one hand and gently squeeze the handles of the running pliers with the other hand, and where the sides of the smiley face are, that will push pressure onto either side of the score line, and the glass should break really nicely along the score. I love breaking stuff with the running pliers. It's so satisfying to me and not scary at all. So you're going to repeat to get the pieces of glass cut down as small as possible. The running pliers don't allow for the glass to be cut super small, but I like to get it as small as I can. And then we're going to do some more detailed cutting, and I am using stained glass tile nippers, and this is the first time I'm using them, and I'm actually so impressed by them because you can really get the glass cut down to super close to the template. I think these are a huge game changer. They're technically sold for mosaic projects, but it works perfect for the stained glass. I think glass cuts easier than tile, so that works great. And they just allow you to get as close to the template as possible. It's so nice, but you can almost cut them perfectly. And the closer you get the cuts on this step, the less time you have to spend on the next step of grinding the glass. If you get any cut pieces that are big enough to save for later, I keep mine in a plastic bin. That saves me from having to buy a bunch of glass. And then I also like to keep my work surface clean. I keep a dustpan and brush ready, and I just like brush up any of the glass shards and put them in a garbage can. Okay, now we're going to grind the glass. What this does is it shapes the edges of the glass really nicely, and it helps them so they'll all fit together precisely. Hold the glass piece firmly and move the glass onto the grinder bit. So you're going to just clean up any sharp or rough edges, and you're going to go all the way around the glass so it's the same size as the template piece. And then when they're all grinded, you just need to clean the glass with Windex to make sure all the edges are clean too. So My husband was doing the grinding, and right as soon as he was done, I was cleaning it, and then I was using the copper foil. So it was kind of nice because we got like an assembly line going and we were both working at the same time, and it went really fast. So I'm using copper foil to wrap the edges of each piece of glass. Copper foiling is also referred to as the Tiffany method, and it's a really popular and easy technique to join the pieces of glass. So begin by putting the foil onto the glass. It's really important to center the foil onto the glass so that there's the same width on either side of the glass. So start at one edge of the glass, work your way around, cut the copper foil so it slightly overlaps itself. It's much better for it to be too long than too short. I cut one too short and it had problems in a later step, so don't do that. It's best to have the starting and ending point of the foil be at a seam where it'll be touching other foil. I didn't do this as well, and I again regretted it. So I'm just learning as I go because I am still a beginner. Next, you're going to burnish the foil, and this just means smoothing the foil onto the glass to make sure it's stuck really well. And to do this, I like to use a fid, and what you do is you press down and smooth the foil firmly onto the glass. I like to press the foil onto the face with my fingers and then use the fid to like really secure everything and smooth it down on the edges and the faces, and run the burnishing tool over the foil several times because if it comes up, your glass, the integrity of the stained glass will be compromised. So to finish this step, place the foiled pieces of glass together on the template. It's so exciting to see them fitting well together. Okay, yesterday I probably did 3 times as much on the stained glass as I thought I would be able to. It went so much more smoothly than it has in the past, which is great. That never happens to me. So today all I have to do is the soldering to finish it off, which historically is a part I'm not good at, but let's get started on that. Okay, so now we're going to use a soldering iron to apply solder along the copper joints. This is how you're going to connect all the glass pieces together. Make sure you are using safety glasses and gloves. Ventilate the room really well because this stuff stinks. And then I'm going to just start taping the back of the stained glass to connect the pieces together. The last time I tried stained glass, the pieces really moved around and shifted, so this is a really crucial step for me. Next, apply the flux. Use the flux brush and apply a thin, even layer of flux to the copper foil on the seams where the copper will go. This really helps the solder flow smoothly and adhere to the copper foil. Since this project needs plant stakes, I bought 2 and we're using pliers to cut them into 8-inch long pieces. It was really hard for me to cut, so my husband had to cut them. I also taped those on the stained glass where I could so that they could be soldered together with the glass. And then you're going to heat your soldering iron. I like mine around 400 degrees. Clean the tip before beginning. Start the soldering process by applying small bits of solder at the intersections of the glass pieces to hold them in place. Next, move to soldering the seams. Place the solder against the copper foil seam, then touch the solder iron to the solder and foil. The solder should melt and flow onto the copper foil. Move the iron smoothly along the seam, feeding more solder as needed. Once you have soldered one piece, flip it over and solder the other side to ensure strength and stability. I'll be honest, soldering is the trickiest part of stained glass for me. It takes me lots of time to smooth out the bumps and the irregularities that I created with the solder iron. I believe I'll get better at this step with practice, but it's hard to know that I'm just making a bit of a mess with it, but that's okay. Last, clean up the glass thoroughly by removing any flux or solder residue. I like to use the magic eraser for this step, and I also like to then finish with pledge cleaner and a rag. This really shines everything up nicely. So now we're done. It took me 2 days to make these. My second day took a little bit longer because my solder iron, it just wouldn't heat up correctly, so I had to go to the store and buy another one, which was kind of frustrating. But I finished all 6 of them, and I thought I would show you how they look. I think they are so cute. I have some favorites. I really like the flower. That was the most intricate one with all the petals, but it looks so cute. I also like the heart a lot. As I was putting them out, I was like, why didn't I make a bow-shaped one? So maybe I'll try this again because it wasn't so hard. It's such a great project for beginners with stained glass. So I would love to know, like, would you try stained glass? Does it look too hard for you? I've always been so curious about it, so it was really important for my brain to know, hey, you can make this. And I hope to get better at it. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, then I can make more stained glass videos. And if you're not already, please subscribe.